Uh, I just want to give you a bit of background first. I'm an unemployed young person. I
Yeah.
graduated high school in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I'd like to do. I was pretty happy to hear your farming background and you go in depth to that kind of thing. I worked on farms before and I
Yeah.
like the idea of being a farmer myself someday or an entrepreneur or even going to school, even though the prospects for
Right.
almost anything in school look pretty bleak. Uh, what what's your plan to help young farmers, entrepreneurs, impoverished young people kind of succeed in Nova Scotia?
Well, one thing would be, I believe that actually having the natural gas industry develop in the province would be a benefit to you, even though you might become a roughneck in that industry, or you might become participating in it. But even if you didn't, there would be more money floating around in the economy. I can tell you that I have a good friend out west who's a vegetable farmer in Alberta, and his farm has got 5 wellheads on it. And I said to him, Rod, what kind of money are you making off your renting the land, which is about 60 acres of land off his 1,000 acre farm? And he wouldn't tell me, but he was making somewhere, but he told me the range. And it meant that he was getting in rent from those 5 wellheads somewhere between $70,000 and $215,000 a year, probably closer to the high side of that. So the money floating now around in the economy will help you. As far as I mean, if I can give you an advice, I believe that we have an excellent Nova Scotia Community College system, the NSCC, and I think that you need to participate in that. I can tell you that for farming, what I would like to do, and this is not part of my normal talk, but when my father came from Holland, he didn't speak any English and he didn't have any money, but he had a real good education in farming. And I've talked to the agricultural college twice about duplicating how the Dutch did their farming. And did you go to the Middelbare Landbouw School? Yeah, you went to that school too, right? That was the name of it. And it was an agricultural college that was a combination of the degree granting level and the diploma level that we have. It was somewhere in the middle. They call it the middle school. And they had a very strong apprenticeship program. So I've asked the Agricultural College twice to look at it, and I think that would teach people. It was very focused on teaching you what you needed to know to farm. So I believe that if we can get that program going here, it'll make a difference in young people knowing how to farm. And if they went through it, then if I was the minister, if I was a premier or minister of agriculture, and we had the money, we would give them, incentivize them too. You go through that program, and we'll help you buy your farm, right? So, because the other thing that my dad had when he came with no money and nothing really, he went to borrow money from the Farm Loan Board. And at that time, the Farm Loan Board would loan up to 75% on a commercial loan, and you had to have the other 25%. And that is pretty standard for a commercial loan anywhere nowadays, right? So, and he bought the farm, I think it was a $10,000 purchase in 1960. And he didn't have the 25%. He did not have $2,500, right? But the Dutch government guaranteed the other 25%. And so if there's one way that I would want to see us going ahead with helping young people get farms is to say, okay, we'll guarantee the loan on the other 25%. And if you go through my program. So that would be, I mean, that was pivotal in my family's life. And I think that is a reasonable way to do it. So that's what the Dutch government did. I don't know why they did it. I think it wasn't so much that they wanted to get rid of my mom and dad, but because they also paid their passage on the boat, but it was something to do with the goodwill between Holland and Canada from World War II, right? There was a lot of goodwill there. The Dutch were very grateful.
And the program was in effect too when we started farming here too.
Right.
And,
so that got you started.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the kind of program I would like to create again. But not for just Dutch people, then for whoever went through our schooling system.
Well, they had it here too for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
do you think there are any opportunities in industrial hemp or the upcoming cannabis reform as far as those go?
I have very mixed emotions about marijuana, cannabis, because my son had a psychosis due to that. He was 21 years of age, and that was very painful for us. It was a factor in his death. So it's in the scientific literature. I can show you that we know that there'll be mental health problems. The developing brain up to age 25 can be, not necessarily, but can be very negatively affected by cannabis and marijuana. So I've got very mixed feelings about it.
What about non-recreational, like industrial?
So let me just say this about growing marijuana, or cannabis, in commercially. The people who were willing to risk going to jail to sell drugs on the street are not going to stop either, right? So the idea that these companies are going to make all kinds of money, I have to question that. Like, if they're twice as expensive as the street corner vendor, they're not going to make money. So I don't really know what's going to happen with it all. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't advise investing in the industry personally. I think we have to see how it shakes out, but there's clearly people who think they're going to make a lot of money on it. In terms of hemp, which is another question, how do you turn, and we have a farm in the valley trying to work with hemp, and to process hemp is an industrial challenge, right? So you just don't start growing a little bit of hemp and making clothes. There's a lot of machines you need. So
You need decorticators and there's not many of them around.
A lot of things are needed, so that's big business. So that takes big investment. I would say you'd be better off growing
What if there was
lettuce and carrots and selling them in a little farm market here.
What if there was a subsidized business for, like, a market for producers to sell it to, kind of thing? Like a hub for people to grow and then sell the hemp to the person who has the equipment.
So one of the things that I'm supporting, let's go off of hemp to one of the things I really think is an opportunity in Nova Scotia, and that's the beef industry. The beef industry wants to have, has a program they want to teach people how to beef farm again. And beef is something that could be in every part of the province, and they eat grass. And they want to go from 40,000 head of beef to 60,000. So that's going to take more young people. So I think that's a better opportunity than the hemp industry.